Ladies, gentlemen, and others, welcome back to Boz Comics. Today I wanted to address uh, something that's been kind of going around. Freddie Prinze Jr. Kind of lost his shit and started railing against Star Wars fans in particular, um, saying, among other things, that oh, uh, criticisms against the current era of Star Wars it's totally ridiculous and overblown, and we're all sexist man babies, and you know what? None of this matters because Star Wars is intended for kids. Now, why am I talking about this here on Boz Comics? I want this to be a comic nerddom and art focused channel. Unlike a lot of my peers, not throwing shade, I'm not really interested in branching out and talking about things like Star Wars on this channel. On some of my other ones, probably, but not here, not today, Satan. um, I have no intention of just chasing trends on this channel for views and clout. It's not my thing. But Freddie's comments are relevant to the current day comic book industry. This is an argument that we hear a lot in comics, right? It's the same thing. The criticisms that we have about the industry as it stands, the changes made to characters, the art quality, the quality of the stories, right? It's all for kids, so it's dumb to get riled up about it. It's dumb to criticize it because it's all for children. Now, I will say that, before I start diving into this, I will say one of the things that frustrates me about the Comicsgate side of things, Comicsgate likes to throw around the, it's for children thing when they find it suitable. They really like to opine for the days when adults would buy their kids comic books. Comic books were at one point almost solely intended to be a children's entertainment medium. And so when they're talking about how utterly garbage everything is right now in the mainstream, or not everything, but the type of people who make this argument seem to think that everything is beyond saving. They'll talk about how these are for kids. Seeing these gay superheroes, it's so great for the kids. God, the republicanism rampant in Comicsgate is just not my jam. All right, I am a sane liberal over here, and I just can't get down to clown with that avenue. But anyway, just wanted to point that out. But still, the it's for kids argument, I will say, is a dumb fucking argument no matter who's making it. It's ridiculous. It is an intellectually bankrupt argument, at the very least in the way that they're using it. So when we talk about something primarily intended for children, all that means in my mind is making sure that it's accessible, it's easy for kids to understand, and it doesn't cross over into territory that kids just psychologically cannot handle, right? So graphic violence and sexuality, not something we need in a kid's show, or a kid's comic, right? But beyond that, if you're going to argue that something is made for kids, that doesn't mean that it shouldn't be quality. For one thing, we should be teaching our children to recognize and appreciate quality. We should want them to want quality. And you know what? Even if we're not actively teaching them to seek out quality, they want quality, just like everybody wants quality. I like to think that when I have kids, I'm going to instill in them a real good taste in the media that they consume, right? But even if I don't do that, they're going to develop taste on their own. They're going to develop their own likes and dislikes by the age of 5. Fuck, even before that, right? Children have an idea of what snacks they like, what food they like, what colors they like, that might change literally on a dime, but they still understand like and dislike at the very least, right? So this idea that quality doesn't matter because it's for children, criticism doesn't matter because it's for children. Well, children deserve a little bit more respect. They can be and generally are a little more discerning than you're giving them credit for. You know, um, if if the fact that children, okay, if you're going to argue that children are the target audience for something, and quality doesn't matter because children are the target audience for something, here's the $1,000,000 question, literally speaking. Why the fuck aren't the children buying the product that you're saying is above criticism because it's intended for them in the first place? So, because if you were right and quality didn't matter, and this is a product aimed at children and quality of it like didn't matter, kids would be snatching this product off the shelves in droves, right? This would be a financial success. Everybody would be beside themselves with joy, comic books and Star Wars would both be thriving beyond measure. Neither of those things is happening. Comics has been dying for a very long time. It gets worse and worse every year. And Star Wars, it took a while, for the nostalgia goggles to wear off, but Star Wars is in a tailspin as well. And Disney, both in terms of comics and Star Wars, Marvel is owned by Disney, Star Wars is owned by Disney. Disney keeps taking the wrong fucking lessons from these things, right? I think the last thing we heard them say about Star Wars is they were like, maybe we should put out, less movies. We shouldn't put out Star Wars releases so often. And clearly this is all about Star Wars fatigue. It couldn't possibly be about the quality of the thing you're putting out. But yeah, so Freddie Prinze Jr.'s whole thing of like, this is for children. It's a stupid argument. Children are capable of having thoughts and opinions on things. They can be very discerning. If they don't like something, they'll be the first to tell you because they don't have the filter, right? They'll come right out. It's really dumb. I didn't like it. This is boring. Can we go home now? And that should be the last thing you ever want. No creative should ever want to settle for this is boring. Can we go home now? Listen, I would rather offend than bore. And any creative worth his salt should say the exact same thing. Holy shit. Also, you guys gotta stop attacking the fans. I know this is this falls on deaf ears. But please stop telling your fans that their criticisms are invalid. Whether it's because the product in question is something you think is made for children or because they're white men. Stop. It's dumb. You're just shooting yourself in the foot. You are kneecapping yourself. It's ridiculous. Not to mention non-productive. I don't know. But yeah, the children thing, it's a non-argument. It's so ridiculous. And oh God, I have no idea where it ends. So, having said that, if we're going to, keep saying this, oh, it's for children, well, then you should really take a look at the content of your stories, right? I'm not gonna, it was ridiculous when Freddie Prinze Jr. said it, not because of just the reasons I've already outlined, but also because, Star Wars is a series that involves people getting dismembered, thrown into lava pits, children getting slaughtered, by the dozen, let's see, a forbidden romance, entire planets blowing up, literally billions of people dying, right? A father watching as his son is helplessly electrocuted, accidental incest. That's fun. These are all things that take place in Star Wars, right? But no, Star Wars is just for kids and nobody else. Absolutely. Absolutely. A son stabbing his father to death. That's all for kids, right? And that's the Disney era I just referenced. That's all for kids. Every single one of the good guys dying, right, in pursuit of their cause in Rogue One. Yeah, it's all for kids. The good guys die in the end, and at the end of everything, we see Darth Vader mowing down a bunch of Resistance members like he's in a slasher movie. But yeah, it's for kids. Like, Jesus Christ, shut the fuck up. Like, even even by the most charitable metrics, Star Wars is not for kids. Star Wars as a brand is not for kids. Star Wars as a brand is for everybody. Just like comic books as a medium are for everybody. Okay? And if you're going to argue with me that something like Spider-Man is for kids, I'm going to start talking to you about things like One More Day or Sins Past, right? And those are some of the worst Spider-Man stories of all time. The Clone Saga, okay? Nothing about the worst Spider-Man stories of all time, the most infamous Spider-Man stories of all time, are remotely appropriate for children if we're assuming that something is for kids, right? No comic ever involving Venom or Carnage is for kids, okay? 90% of the X-Men stuff to ever come out in the history of ever, not for kids, right? You know, Batman, nothing Batman related that's come out since the late 70s is for kids. Like, fuck off. Holy shit. Like, people need to stop making these arguments about movies and about comic books. Stop dismissing all criticism, all thought, all introspection, because the product is supposedly for kids. Knock it off. You're not helping your brand, and quite frankly, you sound like a flippin' idiot. All right, that's all the time I've got for today. Signing out. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.